and we're gonna get this party jumping. And we're gonna get this party jumping. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to our Thursday evening Six Figures in 6 months. On Thursdays we come together. We have Mr. J.L. Watson, our basic subject matter expert who goes into wealth building principles and utilities, and really dig deep into putting ourselves in position as we build this cash flow, how to put this cash flow to work, and we're on a tight schedule. I don't want to delay anything. So, man, JL, if you would just grab the mic, I'll
Yes,
control it on my end. Just let me know when to click, and we'll go from there, sir.
perfect. Thank you, Ben, for having me in tonight. This is such an awesome opportunity. I just want to really just, have a conversation. I have a couple slides that we'll get into, but this is more about a relationship. Anybody that talks to you about wealth, I really think, if you don't take the time to get to know somebody, how are you going to really help somebody? We're all unique. We have so many different things that we're considering that we have our hands full. So for me, I just like to have a conversation and just start off, with some simple questions, some simple statements based on my research, based on my years of experience in terms of what does it mean to build wealth, and really learning how to train our ears. Like when Ben said 6 figures in 6 months, my ears jump off the page because that's not an easy task. It's not easy to make 6 figures in 12 months, let alone 6 months. And so I take these commitments very serious. Like when you say that to me, I put my full force, my full weight behind. Can I be a part of something like that? Can I help some people? Can I share some information? Because when it comes to being wealthy, we all know that, and Ben as a leader and many other leaders, I've heard him say it over and over again, that this type of teaching is not really taught in a traditional sense. It's really passed down from generation to generation. And so most people don't have access to this type of information. But what I do want to say tonight with my partner Ben is, welcome to the family, because you do have access. And so, and I don't want to throw out these terms lightly. Wealth, like, it's a big difference from trying to become wealthy to trying to have just a nice lifestyle with some disposable income. Those are two different strategies. Those are two different lanes. Um, for this lane, we're really talking about teaching from the highest perspective, the highest level of what it means to build wealth, how to do it. And so, the first thing I want to tell you guys, wealth is not a product. You can't buy it. You can't go somewhere and find it. It's not a product. But what wealth is, and you can feel free to write this down. And when I'm finished with this list, I would really look at it every day, because wealth is really a mindset. Wealth is also access. Wealth is principles. Wealth are formulas. And wealth is very spiritual. And finally, I would say, and you could maybe add to this list, but I'm just giving you the basic precepts of wealth. Wealth is energy. And whatever you do with your energy is going to dictate how wealthy you will become. And so the question always comes back, and Ben is probably tired of hearing me say it, but I'm going to keep saying it because I believe it's the truth. I believe it's the highest truth. It's hard to do the right thing in the wrong system. And I believe in my heart of hearts that people every day are waking up, giving it their level best, just trying to make it, trying to get to that next level, and asking themselves, why isn't it working? Why am I further along? Why am I starting to shrink my goals, my dreams, my desires, my aspirations? Because, like Ben says so many times, the income doesn't match the goals anymore. So we have two options. We either got to shrink our goals, another word for that is settling, or we got to generate more cash flow. We got to generate more revenue. We got to generate more income. Those are our two options. And it's really sad because success doesn't care if you're tired. Success doesn't care if you're in the right system or wrong system. So all success cares about is, did you show up and do the work? And I got to tell you, I've seen many businesses. I've been a part of many businesses, being a retired banker. I've been around and seen so many great, phenomenal things. And in my early years, I've done multi-level marketing businesses and had some level of success. I don't think anything close to where Ben has taken it, but in my own world, I had some success. And, you know, I really believe this, and everything I say out of my mouth, if I don't believe it, I won't say it. But I really believe this. We can find a lot more success if we just simplify the process. And I want to thank Ben because he's done a phenomenal job with this opportunity, just breaking it down. What I hope to do is help you with some of the other aspects of it, because there's this thought that seeing people don't see and hearing people don't hear. That means it's right there in front of you, but you just can't see it. And so we hope to take the blinders off. We hope to make this real simple. Building wealth, generating six figures, it's not easy. But I believe with clarity, with good information, and with the access, we can be well on our way. And so I just really we're going to get into the information, but even without the information, it really comes down to the mindset. Are we really ready? And when I say, are we really ready? I mean, are we really ready? Because it's easy to say, I'm ready. I'm on board. I'm going to take it to the next level. It's so easy. But what about when the lights are fluttering and maybe you're behind in a bill and it's a little cold and the cable's off? Can you still be excited? Because I can. I'm not excited that I'm behind in my bills. I'm not excited that the lights may go off at any moment. What I'm excited is I'm doing what it takes to be successful and I'm on track. So I'm excited with being on track. And so it's a whole mindset. Because some people, when things are going bad or they're frustrated or tears are running down their face, they can't move forward. But success doesn't care about that. They don't care if you had to make some calls with the candles on. They don't care. Success doesn't care anything about the challenges. All it cares about is the work. And so what I hope to do is simplify this work for you. We have the platform. And I'm so delighted. I'm so excited about the precious metal piece that in terms of building wealth, and you're going to hear more about it from them and you're going to hear more about it from me. That's a key piece. In my opinion, in terms of building a portfolio, that's almost step one. That's mandatory. Now that we have access to that, that's awesome. But we'll pick a day and we'll really drill down deep and we'll do a training just on how to dollar cost average into the precious metals market. But for right now, I just really want to talk to you guys about money, because if we're trying to be successful, if we want to be wealthy, we really have to master money concepts. And so I'm going to spend a few minutes, couple slides, just going over different money concepts and really breaking down what wealth is and how to go about it. But I do want to say this one thing before we pull up our first slide. And I want to say this carefully, but I do believe it's the truth, so I'm going to say it. One almost has to become obsessed with getting free. I don't like to use the word obsession. It has a lot of negative connotations, but our system has done a great job of indoctrinating us, contributing low self-esteem, different type of traumas. And sometimes we've contributed to our own trauma and our own negative situations. So I'm not saying it's all outside forces. I'm saying it's a combination of things. And so it tends to have a stronghold on us. And so we want to move forward. We want to be successful, but something's holding us back. And the one thing I can always say that every Zoom I've jumped on, every time I partner with Ben, he always brings it, that enthusiasm. You got to have it. You got to have it. Whether it's a rainy day or a sunny day, you got to be enthusiastic. But it's hard to be enthusiastic like I said, when you're in a bad place or when you're working so many hours and you just have enough time just to click on the button and you don't even really want to be there, but you know you have to be. But that enthusiasm, we have to start being excited about this journey. Because if you're not excited, if you're not putting your full force, your full energy, something tells me you're going to fall short of your goals. And so it's a full commitment. And what has Ben offering? What are we offering? Freedom. That's why you're part of Team Freedom. But I will say this, and I've had private conversations with Ben, even with freedom, there's different levels. And so what we're talking about is, can we get you free so that you can enjoy another level of freedom, which we call elite freedom? And so I just really wanted to say that. And so I have a reminder in my phone that comes up. You must be obsessed with your freedom. I love my freedom. I have a lot of freedom. I have more freedom than most, and I want more. And I'll just tell you this: I'm kind of flowing now. I'm feeling like I'm Ben now. I'm about to, take off. This is my
Sure.
this is my idea of a perfect week for me. Right now, um, in my business, I probably work 300 to 400 hours a year, which gives me a lot of freedom. Full time is about 2,080 hours. And so I'm about 400 hours. Um, but here's what I want to do. I want to make so much money. I want to have the flexibility to work 1 hour a year. And I want to turn my week into 6 Saturdays and a Sunday. Because most people feel best on the weekends. Monday through Friday, it's a different type of energy. Most people are sad, they're tired, they're frustrated. And when it gets to that Friday, they start getting a pep in their step, feeling a little better, a little more excited, not as tired. It's magical how that happens on the weekend. And so I want my lifestyle, because that's what we're talking about, is a lifestyle. I want my lifestyle to be 6 Saturdays and a Sunday with an hour work per year. Who's thinking like that? We all, I'm not telling you how to think, but I'm telling you there's another level and we got to, I'm already at 300. I got 299 hours to go to get rid of. I want to work 1 hour a year. I want to make more money and work less. And that's diametrically opposed to the system. And so I'm telling you, I'm giving a commitment. I've given my commitment to NWR. I gave my commitment to Ben. We're going to lock arms and we're going to spend as much time as it takes for you guys to get these principles, to get these formulas, and to help you in any way I can. I'm going to roll up my sleeves. I'm going to work as hard as I can. And I'm going to give up a lot of those hours because I have them to give. And so with that, let's just cover a couple money concepts, some strategies, some things that hopefully will help connect some dots for you. And so if you could pull up the first slide, then that'd be awesome. And so we're going to talk about money for a few minutes. I've done this. I've traveled around the country. I've done so many seminars, so many lectures, and I've come to the understanding that people basically know three things about money. They know how to make it, they know how to spend it, and a few people know how to save it. And I always ask, I'm not going to do it here for the sake of time. I always ask, is there anything else about money that you know? And almost nobody says, no, that's pretty much it. And if we're going to be wealthy, if we're going to make six figures in 6 months, we really have to master these concepts. We have to separate ourselves from everyone else. And to be quite honest, I don't follow the masses. I basically do the opposite because I believe the masses have been taught wrong. And so, but I'll get into that as we build our relationship, as we move forward. And so I just want to go over my list of money concepts and I put them in order. And I just want to talk to you about some basic foundational principles that aren't sometimes easily seen. And so the whole goal of this is to help you hear what's not easily heard, help you see what's not easily seen, so we can do what's not easily done. That's the whole premise. So this is a bold statement, but I'm going to say it. Anytime I'm on this Zoom, I should be talking about 98% of the things we never heard before. There's enough people out there with great presentations, great information that a lot of us have heard before. So you don't need another person to do that. So I want to keep my time strategic, like an assassin. You know, I'm only bringing like 1 or 2 bullets to the game, and I got my sights loaded up. I'm not bringing a machine gun and wasting all these bullets and all. No, I'm not doing that. That's not effective. It's not efficient. I want to be in and want to be out. And I do over time want to talk to you about the power, like a lot of times. And the one thing I like about NWR is they really focus on valuing your time. They don't tie you up hours and trying to keep you tied to the computer. No, they're in and out. And with then we want to build on that. Have fun with it. Can we create a special training that's only 7 minutes long and let you go? Can we change your life? Can we bring some heat, some fire, some power in 7 minutes that you can chew on, that you can digest, and then just be gone? And if we're successful with that, then maybe we could do a series of 7-minute sermons just for you guys. Nobody else is allowed this special trip. Who does a 7-minute seminar? We can, because I'm getting excited. I got to stop. But I'm just putting some things out there for you guys to think about.
Oh, I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah, who's doing that? And so let's just get in these concepts. And so the first concept, or the first, and these are in order of importance. This is based on my research. This is based on everything that I've done over the course of my career in finance. And so I believe at the highest level, number one is the highest form of money: time, energy, labor, and intellectual property. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to go through this list. I'm going to do 1, and then I'm going to do 4, because I believe 4, it would be at the top of most people's list. That's U.S. currency. And we do have digital currency that's coming online. It's been here for, a little over a decade. It's nowhere close to maturity. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the digital currency, but I'm definitely going to spend time on the U.S. currency. And so it works basically like this. If I took away all you guys' time, everyone on the Zoom call, how much money could you make? None, right? What if I gave you your time back, but I took away all your energy? How much money could you make? None. What if I gave your time and energy back, but I took away your ability to labor, to leverage? How much money could you make? None. And then finally, if I gave you all that back and I took away your intellectual property, how much money can you make? Now, with no intellectual property, you can't grasp ideas, you can't think, you can't use your mind. So you can't make money. So at the highest level, that's all money is: time, energy, labor, and intellectual property. And wherever you spend your time, energy, labor, and intellectual property, if you tell me what you're doing with that, I'll know if you're going to be wealthy or not. I'll know if you're going to be on track or not, because these are tied to principles. But most people don't think like that. They think the money is the money. But the money's not the money. You're the money. When people say I'm chasing the bag, I'm like, why are you chasing something you already? I am the bag. I know this, and I'll prove it quickly, that I am the money, and money doesn't exist outside of me. If we took every single human being off of planet Earth, how much money would be in our system? 0. But if we took every human being off of planet Earth, how many oceans and rivers and mountains and trees and forests would be there? All of them, because they're real things, they're tangible. Money's just a concept that's built off of our unique energy and utility. And I'll prove that. But before I do that, let's look at U.S. currency, since that's what most people chase. And we do need currency. But acquiring currency is half the battle. That's just step 1. It's what you do with the currency that will dictate your success. It'll dictate if you're going to become rich or wealthy, or if you're going to get to the next level. And I'm going to break it down. When we talk about U.S. currency, how much time does U.S. currency have? 0. How much energy does U.S. currency have? 0. How much labor does U.S. currency have? 0. And finally, And I think this is so easy. How much intellectual property does U.S. currency have? Zero. So let me get this right. It doesn't have any intrinsic value to be called money, but we accept it as money because government, basically creates it, puts a stamp on it, and we work hard for it. But it doesn't have any of the intrinsic value. So why are we chasing it? And there's a lot of paper chasers. And I would say this, I've been a paper chaser. I've heard Ben's story. I'm sure he's been a paper chaser. I'm sure we all can identify with chasing paper. Part of building wealth is we got to stop that. The paper needs to chase us because we're better. We're more superior. It's proven right here. It doesn't have anything great. And think about this. Who's getting and I want to say this. The reason we chase it, because we're chasing something that doesn't have intrinsic value. That means when we catch it, it doesn't do what we need it to do. So what happens is we have to put on our tennis shoes and we have to chase it some more and chase it some more and chase it some more. And if you put yourself in a position through passive income, through a lot of these strategies, and let money chase you, you'll be a lot less tired. And that's exciting to me. But we have to learn how to do it. Just like I said, this information hasn't been taught. So we got to pass this down. We got to show you how. I believe this. A lot of people know what to do, but they don't know how to do it. And I'm not speaking to any one particular person. I'm just speaking to a society, a system. And I'll say it again. Many people know what to do, but they don't know how to do it. And I'm thankful that we know how to do it. And so let me just go to the next one, pens. I've never done a presentation where people say, yeah, I knew pens were money. They're more like, what are you talking about? But let me break it down like this. All of us have had jobs, right? And so how did you get the job? Most of the time it starts with a resume. The original resumes were handwritten. And then they were typewriters, and now we use computers. So they're all an extension of the pen. So we usually start with a resume. We usually fill out an application, and we have to sign the application. They like our credentials, they make us an offer, and we accept. They usually invite us down to an orientation where we learn more about the rules, the roles and responsibilities, and also we have to sign a lot of documents, W-4s, health insurance, 401ks, 403bs, that type of thing, a lot, direct deposits. We have to sign a lot of documents, right? And we have to sign because these are contracts. And we have to attest that everything we said in the contract is true and accurate. And we know that after we sign all those documents, they don't give us any money, right? We have to go out and do the work. And so once we do the work, maybe a week or two, they hold back a check, then it's payday. Once again, now we're happy on payday. We might be sad Monday through Thursday or Monday through Wednesday, depending on when you get paid. But on payday, most people are happy. And we get this check, right? And what do we do with the check? We got to go to the bank. And what do we have to do to the check before we make the deposit? We have to sign it, right? What if we don't sign it? Would the teller take the check from us? No, it has to be signed. And so let's look a little deeper. Let's say you never signed any of those contracts or paperwork with the company. Could you have ever got them to pay you any money? Impossible, right? You had to sign those documents. And so the question I have is, in order to get the money, you needed your pen, you had to sign your document. So what's really the money? Is the pen the money or is the money the money? Because you couldn't have got the money without the pen. And it's a trick question. They're both forms of money, just one you know about, one you don't. The whole world runs off our signature because we're really kings and queens, but we're in the wrong system. So we don't get acknowledged that way. And I'll do a deep teaching on that at some point about who we really are and the power we really have. But it's being stifled, and it's been like that for years. Another word for it is called bondage. But we'll talk about that another time. And so pens are money. That's why it's up there. And all this is, when you think about your signature, this is how I want you guys to process it. All the signature is basically saying that you spent some time, energy, labor, and intellectual property somewhere, and that's the real money. And they give you a receipt called currency, which is your paycheck, which isn't the value. It's really the time. The signature is based on time, energy, labor, and intellectual property. You just don't get paid the value of it. They just pay you in US currency. So that's how the system works. That's what we say behind the veil or behind the scenes. Just people in high places know exactly what we're doing, but the people don't. We just signing our life away, chasing paper. And that is not a recipe for success. I mean, let me say this. If you have a job and you make a lot of currency, you're on your way. That is great. But most people aren't making enough currency to get ahead. And then the last one's real easy. Gold and silver. Gold and silver is real money, tangible asset. And I don't believe in chasing gold and silver, but if I was going to chase money, I would chase the gold and silver, not chasing paper. At least the gold and silver has intrinsic intrinsic value. But gold and silver is still not better than one. And one is me, one is you, one is us. We all have time, we all have energy, we all have labor, we all have intellectual property. It's time to really get strategic with the allocation of these assets and really learn how to monetize ourselves like these big corporations and governments have learned to monetize us. Meaning they make more money off of us and our identity than we make on ourselves. But you start getting in that 6 figures in 6 months, and you can do a lot of exciting and amazing things. And we're just talking about 6 figures in 6 months. What does that look like in 6 years? It can be really exciting. So I want to encourage you guys. We got one more slide. I want to encourage you guys, really be excited. And if you're asking, could this be that time? Could this be the opportunity? It really could, because we're bringing facts. We're bringing hard, cold facts to you guys. We're not talking about concepts and different, thoughts of the day. No, we're bringing principles. We're bringing solutions, real solutions for real people. And finally, we're not telling you what to do or teaching you what to do. We're teaching you how to do it. That's key. A lot of people well, I took the class, but I still don't know what I'm doing, because they never taught you how to do it. And so this is basically Money Concepts continued. I'm going to talk to you about 2 systems: the system that all of us has been raised in, and the system that I operate in when it comes to money and time. Most people have been taught that there's 24 hours a day, which there is. Almost nobody's been taught that those 24 hours equal 86,400 seconds. And so when I ask people, is there any difference between 24 hours and 86,400 seconds? Most people say, no, they're pretty much equal the same. So I want to break this down and see if you feel that they're still the same. So let's say, hypothetically, you have a job and you're making $30 an hour. Most people would say that's a good average income. I think we would agree. And if you're making $30 an hour, how much does that equal per second? How much time, how much value do you earn per second? Most people don't know and will never know. But you guys, the leaders here, the people committed to 6 figures in 6 months, the ones who are getting to this next level, you'll know. And then you can teach people if you so desire, but you'll know the truth. And the truth is, if you're making $30 an hour, you're making 0.83 points of 1 penny. So not even a cent. And so you start to see hold on, I thought $30 was a good income. It is if you're in the system, but if you're trying to be wealthy, I don't think that's the right system for you. Because how can you go leverage your time? You think you're making dollars and you're making less than pennies. Because what's the difference between, there's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. What's the difference between 1 second and 1 hour? All we have are seconds. Man groups them into minutes and hours and stuff, and that's a distraction. Because let me ask any one of you guys on this Zoom, is the first second of your day any more or less valuable than the last second of your day? All of my seconds, every second I give to anybody is valuable, tremendously valuable. So what are we doing here? Why are we working for less than pennies? But we think we're working, and people in high places, they know this. That's why they make $26 million a year, because they can't be working for pennies. And if you do the math on 26 million, if you net the value of 26 million, it equals a true asset value of $1 million. So for every $26 million you generate, you're generating a real true $1 million. That's why CEOs and these executives have to make so much money, because they know it's only paper. So they have to have massive amounts. We talk about 6 figures. They talk about 8 figures. So these are the things we don't know. No one's ever taught us. No one has taught us it's a 26-to-1 ratio. $26 million in paper equals $1 million. I'll just let that sink in. And this is why, because we're working for pennies. And in order to even just make a penny per second, you have to at least make $36 an hour. And so not many people in the US make $30 an hour, and even fewer make $36 an hour. So that's how you get to your penny. But I don't know about you guys. My time, my value is way more than 1 penny. And even, did you want to say something, man?
No. I mean, when you really break this down, it's like blow your mind.
And it's the truth. It's the highest level of truth. And how are we going to become wealthy? How are we going to make this money? How are we going to be successful when we don't know the truth? Because remember I said, we
Right.
have to become obsessed with freedom. Well, how do you get free? What makes you free? The truth, right?
Truth.
The truth. And most of us aren't dealing with truth. We're not even dealing with reality. We're dealing with a false reality that somebody plugged us into, kind of like the Matrix, really like the Matrix, a modern day Matrix. And we got to unplug first. So the first thing is, those of us who are looking for 6 figures, because, and I haven't met you guys personally, I don't know you guys, but it is so hard to believe that you can make 6 figures in 6 months, especially when you're plugged into a system. And so the step 1 is we got to unplug. What better way to unplug than with real, valuable, true, high-level information that you were never supposed to know, that people are supposed to go to their graves never knowing, because the people at the top, they benefit off of our lack of knowledge. And people perish for lack of knowledge. And so hopefully we put some meat on the bones. Hopefully after tonight, it's another perspective and we're getting excited like, hey, maybe we're on to something. Maybe we're right and the whole rest of the world is wrong. I'm just that bold to say it. Or I could be crazy. Maybe the world is right and we're on the Zoom and wrong. But I'm just believing that bold that, like, I'd rather be on this side than that side. And so we only have a few more points and then I'm going to turn it back over to Ben. So even at $100, most people would be excited and blown away at $100 an hour, even myself included back in the day when I didn't know about money, when I didn't know about value. But at $100 an hour, you're still only generating 2.8 cents per second. I'm not impressed with that. And so let's talk about the campaign. Let's talk about 6 figures in 6 months. 6 figures in 6 months, we're roughly saying somewhere between 15 and 20-hour commitment, which is way short of full-time effort, which if you're able to make 6 figures in 6 months, now you're generating at least 7 cents per second, which is way better than 2.8 or 0.83 points of a cent. Like, you're starting to really make some headway. You're really starting to get to this next level. And 7 cents is still small, in my opinion. But it's so much better because we're within a system that you're starting to, like, really separate yourself. Still got your eye on the prize in terms of freedom. And so that's really, if we want to go back to the hourly rate, that's $247 an hour. And if I said most people are making $30 an hour, how many people are making $247 an hour? That's what this campaign is going to do for you. If we do the work, if we believe. But I'll tell you this, if you don't believe, none of this will work. You have to believe. 3 things I believe. You have to believe, you have to be willing to do the work, and we have a tremendous coach. He's on these, sending out these blasts and stuff. I'd like to see a few more comments and stuff, but he sends out these blasts. He's diligent with it. You have to believe, you have to do the work, and never quit. I believe armed with the right information, if you do that, if you believe. Now, I'm not talking about believing. I'm talking about really believe. Like it's done. Like it's everywhere. I'm consumed. I'm going to do this. This is me. This is my new life. This is how we get free. And look at it. That's a total of 405 hours. That's closer to what I'm doing with my 300 to 400 hours. And so I just really want to take tonight, spend a few minutes with you. I'm all about relationships. I don't believe we can grow without locking arms. I think, I need to share who I am, what I'm about. I need to learn more about what you guys, make sure we're on the same page. But this is basically like a second introduction. I think I did one maybe a couple weeks ago, but this is ongoing. I told Ben, I'm here till the wheels fall off. We're going to break some 6 and 7 figure people, 8 figure people. And it's a lot of work and it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. But, and the last thing I'm saying, I'll turn it over to Ben. It really comes down to time, energy, and space. What are you doing with your time? Where are you? Are you in position or out of position? And I think following Ben's lead is the greatest thing we could do. So it was great speaking with you guys. I hope you found some value in what we shared. I just know, because I've been doing this so long, this type of information doesn't really get out to hardworking, regular day every people. And the people who I think need it most. So I'm done, and I'll turn it back over to Ben.
Man, wow. Absolutely amazing, JL. Man, the bottom line is we're in this business to make money, to build wealth. But if you don't understand it, then what are you doing? And what you just explained to me, I never heard it before in my life. I just Googled how much does Jeff Bezos make per second. Jeff Bezos, who's worth $117 billion, makes $308 per second. They calculate themselves.
Oh,
Ben, we go by hourly wages.
You made me think of something. And I just want to say, this isn't for you guys, but in my other businesses, I charge $1 per second. That's basically $3,600 an hour.
Right. It's just a different mindset, because every second counts. And with that being said, as we conclude today, what are you doing with your time, guys? This is a movement. I got some conversations I got to have with folks privately, because this is not an average room. This is a room that we have to set a standard of above average. And we got to go after this every day, every second, pushing hard to get to 6 figures in 6 months, because that was our commitment. So where are you right now? Here we are halfway through the month. Are you doing the numbers? Are you working the numbers? Are you doing the 3-way calls? Are you doing the necessary activities to get to that goal? And it really comes down to getting out of our way. Our number one enemy is our inner me. Get out of the way and just do the work. We just gotta, and I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to you. I'm wrap things up. I got so much in my pipeline. I'm looking to bring on some new partners between tomorrow and this weekend. One of our newest partners who's joining the team, Mr. Keith Wan, he's on fire. He's ready to get it. But we have to lead by example and start fighting for our last name, guys. As we said, every week we want to bring on those 3 new partners and help those 3 partners bring on their 3 partners. That's the formula. It won't work if you're not working it. The formula is you get to executive, and then we help those 3 that you bring on get to executive. And we just keep duplicating that process, but it takes you to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. If you got to call 1,000 people, call 1,000 people. Whatever it takes to get your 3 new partners who's ready to come on board and go after it. And I challenge you to get that done this weekend. It doesn't take forever. Most people, this is something that's funny, and argue with me if you don't agree with me on this. Most people get things done at the last minute. most production and most companies and most jobs take place at the end of the month at the last minute. So here we are at the end of the week. Usually when people get their numbers, it's like on a weekend at a deadline. I need you to play mental martial arts with yourself. This is your deadline this weekend. You must bring on 3 new partners. And what are you willing to do? I'm willing to put in the work and match energy with energy. I just want you to put in the work so we can bring on your next. Some of you need 2 more people. Some of you need 3 people. Some of you need just 1 individual to come on board so we can break executives. And then we get this culture moving. Once you get your 3, they're plugging into the environment and we're teaching them this whole process and help them to get their 3 and then their 3. That's where the 6-figure formula comes in at. But it starts with us. So man, let's get fired up. Any questions, any comments from anyone? Go ahead, JL.
Because I jump on these Zooms and I wasn't as interactive because I didn't want to take a lot of time. I didn't ask for any responses in the chat, but it would be helpful because I don't see any faces. This is a new team that I'm teaching in front of. So if you found some value, if you thought maybe, there was some good or new exciting information, it would help me to put some information in the chat, or some fire or anything that you really sincerely feel. Because like I said, I'm a much more in your face, together type of person, but our society doesn't work like that now. So it's a lot of Zoom. And so I just, I'm so used to getting a lot of feedback on these Zooms from the people. And I want to make sure I'm teaching in the right direction. Maybe it's something you've heard before. Maybe it's not mind blowing. Maybe it's not exciting, but I'd like to just, hear from you guys. Cause like I said, I have this hard stop, so I got to get going shortly, but if you thought you heard something good or anything, it'd be nice to see it in the chat.
Absolutely. Any comments, questions? I know you have a hard stop. Actually, we're beyond your stop, but yeah, we're gonna keep this thing rocking and rolling. So, man, let's get this thing keep moving, and we're just gonna keep building, guys. So, if you're locked in and ready to go, man, let's lock in those fire emojis. Let's get things moving. Get on my calendar to schedule your launch. If we need to schedule some one-on-one time with JL to really learn a little bit more about this and how to put your money to work, we definitely want to make sure we get those things lined up and set up as well. His consultations are amazing. We try to squeeze so much information in such a small amount of time. But it's, we're going to make it work. We're compressing time. We don't have a lot of time to stretch things out. This is an environment of urgency. So with that being said, guys, JL, love you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, guys. Everyone have a good evening. And get on my calendar. Let's get some PBRs lined up and let's get you to executive. Take charge, everyone. God bless.